Hello, guys, this is Vysh, and today we are going to discuss a topic which is in news, the Israel Palestine conflicts. But already there are a lot of videos, there are a lot of articles, there are a lot of newspaper clippings which is explaining the issue which is going on live. But what happens is when such an issue happens, people start taking sides. People like support Israel is right or maybe Palestine is right. But always what happens is the facts which they have based on which they are supporting the party which they are supporting may not be right. So this video is to break 10 myths about Israel Palestine conflicts which we thought will help you understand more facts, which will help you maybe discuss this with your friends or maybe debate with others, and then give you a better understanding of the whole issue. So 10, I could have done more, but we have picked up 10 popular myth, okay, which we have noticed while discussing with others. And after this, we are going to do a series of videos which will be related to the same thing, and which will be helpful for people who are preparing for competitive exams and also for your general awareness. Whoever is interested, you can also watch. The ancient history of Israel and Palestine, which people don't know. Okay, people may be knowing what is happening since the last few years, maybe from 1980s or maybe from 1940s, but there are things which has been happening since centuries. Okay, or like millenniums, you can tell. It is happening since 2000 BC to be precise. So that history, okay, we have compiled it for Israel and Palestine, and that will be done. Then the Zionist movement of Jews, the Intifada movement of Palestine, Israel-Palestine conflict, which you are already seeing from various sources, then the solutions possible for this conflict, the Arab-Israeli War 1947, the 1967 war, which is called the Six-Day War, then the emergence of Hamas 1987, which is a extreme militant organization, okay, which does it through violent methods. Okay, whatever they need, they does it through violent methods. Then there is Campa David Accords, Oslo Accords, and world history, world wars, Alexander the Great. All these have some connection with the conflicts which is going on. Okay, so the entire history we'll be doing in the next video based on your response for this video. So you have to like, comment, share, and subscribe so that we feel that there is audience waiting for our videos related to this topic. So these are the keywords which you will be seeing in news, and maybe you are including in your debates or discussion with your friends. Okay, Zionism, why the conflict, then Oslo Accords, Holocaust, Palestine, Wailing Wall, Tel Aviv, Ottoman Empire, Israel, Abraham, Jerusalem, Al-Aqsa, Intifada, Hamas. So these kind of things you would have used. So now what and where is Israel and Palestine? Okay, this may sound very basic, but most people don't have an idea of where it is actually located on the world map itself. But still they will say like, I will support Israel, I will support Palestine, I will support the Jews, I will support the Arabs. So we have to start from the basics. Okay, so first we'll see the world map. If you see the world map, this particular location which we call as Middle East. Okay, why Middle East? Like if you see, this is 0 degree, the longitude. So we have this Western Hemisphere and Eastern Hemisphere. So here somewhere in the middle, okay, here we have the Middle East portion. Okay, and this area, if you see, African continent is here, Asian continent is here, European continent. So it's a tri-junction, you can tell. So it's a very sensitive, very important area, especially for the trade also. Here the Suez Canal is there, which was in news few months back for some other reason. Okay, so this particular area is where Israel and Palestine lies. If you zoom in a little bit, this is exactly next to the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so it has a beach coast here. So this is Israel, and Tel Aviv, which we will be discussing, will be here. Okay, it's a beach city. Okay, and Jerusalem is somewhere in the center. That will again zoom in. So this is the area where the whole conflict is going on. And the bordering countries are Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, Jordan. Okay, so all these things are always in the news for the wrong reason. Okay, Lebanon was in news last year, same time almost, where there was a big explosion and many people died. Okay, you would have seen like clips going around in WhatsApp. Then Syria, Jordan, always wars are going on. Jordan is still stable compared to others, if you see. Then Egypt. Then here, if you see, Palestine area, which was allocated through the United Nations in 1947, is these three areas. This Gaza Strip, okay, then this is West Bank, and this is Golan Height. And here, this is Jerusalem Point. Okay, so what is this? Who is controlling it? It's a totally different story, and you have to understand a lot of basics for that. So, but have an idea that this continuous area, this is called Israel, and others is Palestine, as per the United Nations since 1947. Okay, so after that, what all happened, or before that, what all happened, we'll see. And Suez Canal, you would have seen this. The ship was stuck in that area, and because of that, people had to take a longer route. Okay, if you see here, if a ship starts from here and goes through this is the shortest route they can take through the Suez Canal, and this is how they do the trade across the world. Okay, so that ship, when it got stuck here in Suez Canal, the ships had to take this longer route. Okay, this much big route. So this is the reason Suez Canal is very, very important. And now this is all cleared, and now the route is free for the continuous export or import, whatever people are doing here. So this is another news item, but I just wanted to show you the area because these are again things which was in news this year. Now, 1947 United Nations plan, if you take this blue color, this continuous area, this is Israel area, and the remaining, as I told, Gaza Strip, West Bank, and near to Golan Heights, these are all the Palestine allotted area, which is almost equal in size, but it is not continuous, which is given to the Palestine. And then this pink color area is the Jerusalem point, which will be of international control, okay, international significance, and so it's like not owned by both of them. And this is a very holy place also. Both of them have their religious significance there. That is why the debates and fights are going on. But what happened is, after this was allocated, 1948, the Arabs were not happy with the partition and they came and attacked. So they moved in their army and their forces to control over the entire thing, and they wanted more area because they thought they will be suppressed under the Jews who is coming back. Okay, so that is what happened in 1948. And 1948, July, Israeli forces actually counterattack was done, and they actually got more areas than what was originally allocated through the UN partition. This is what happened in this time. Okay, before this there is a map. So people will be wondering, like, where is that map? That map is where, if you see, it's called Palestine, okay, where the Jews are yet to come. So how the Jews came, okay, before that, if you take one more map, it will be completely Israeli area, which was occupied by many places. So like that, there is a big history to it, which will be the next video. Okay, so don't worry, I'll tell you the entire history of how this whole land was formed, what religion was existing here, and what happened, who were like exiled from here and who came back. Entire story we'll discuss. But this is the modern day thing, which is after United Nations was formed. Okay, so this is for your basic understanding. After that, after the 1948 war, in 1967, again a war happened. Okay, all the Arab countries which is surrounding, at least 5 countries, again attacked Israel because they wanted to capture the entire area. But what happened instead is, Israelis in 6 days, okay, this is a 6-day war, in 6 days they defeated all of them and got more area than they got in their previous war. Okay, the Sinai Peninsula area which you see, where in between here Suez Canal is there and here Red Sea is there, this area also they won, okay, which was not even in the partition plan or anything. The Sinai was acquired by Israel, Gaza Strip, West Bank, Jerusalem, Golan Heights, entire thing is full green now. Okay, entire thing is now Israelis controlled. But later ceasefire was announced, and then Israel withdrew from the Sinai Peninsula in 1982, and also in Gaza in 2005. Okay, that is when later next person will come, the next group will come, that is the Hamas. Okay, Hamas is the militant organization. So that and all we'll see in the coming slides. So this is what happened. Okay, after the 2 big wars I'm telling, 1948 war and 1967 war. After that, there is 1973 war also, which led to the oil crisis and all, which involves Iran, Iraq. So it's a little more detailed story, which I'll do later. Now about this video, the 10 myths. Okay, so the conflict is too complex to possibly understood by outsiders. This is one myth which is there. Okay, but if you see, it is indeed complex, but not too complex that it can't be understood. So that is what you have to understand first. There are 3 major reasons why it is complex. First thing, it's been going on for decades. Both sides have 2 versions of the story or the history. Okay, whoever is supporting. And the pro-Israeli people and pro-Palestinian people, that is within the country, within those areas, and also outside, like people like us in maybe India or Asia or Europe, wherever, they who take sides, they try to impose their story onto the other person. Okay, and this happens in every debate, whether you take any government who is in power and who is in opposition. If you are supporting one particular group, you will always try to tell good things about that group. Okay, and you will not be ready to listen even when something against that is told. So that happens in any debate. Okay, so that is what is happening. So that is why this is complex in nature. So that myth is that it is to be broken. It is not that we cannot understand it. If you go through the deep history of it, it's very easily understandable, and that is what we will do in the next video. Now the conflict is all about religion. It is true that Israelis are mostly Jewish and Palestinians are mostly Muslim, but religion is pretty low on the list of direct drivers of this conflict. It is a clash between nationalities, Israel and Palestine, over secular issues of land and nationhood. Okay, even though religion is involved, it did not start because of religion. It started because of their homeland. Okay, people wanted their nation to be created and they wanted their own homeland. Early mass migrated Jews in the 1800s and 1900s were mostly secular. Okay, that is where a term called Zionism is there. Zionism is something like where all the Jews were to come together to form their own nationality. Okay, like we have, if you go to France, there is French people. If you go to China, there is Chinese people. Okay, unfortunately in India, it is like very difficult to find a true Indian, but that is what Zionism intended. It's not like to take the Jewish people, it's about the people who used to live there. Those people should come together along with their religious interest also, and they should form a nationality. Initial Palestine armed movements, they were also largely secular. as well until groups like Hamas arrived in 1987 who promoted Islam. Okay, so earlier when Palestinian movement started, they were also about their Arab land. Okay, this land is ours, we are living here. So it's about their land, it's not about religion. But later, Hamas took it up and converted it into a Muslim Jew fight, and now they just want to wipe out the entire Israeli people from there. Okay, so that, and it doesn't mean like only in the Palestine side it's there. In Israeli side also, there is right-wing extremists who want Palestinians to be completely wiped out. And religious aspect exists, where it exists in Jerusalem. There is a mosque called Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is Islam's third holy site, located on top of the older Temple Mount, whose west wall is Jewish holy site. Okay, so initially there was a temple, okay, a Jewish temple, and that was destroyed. And there's a series of stories. 2 times it was destroyed actually. It was built, then destroyed, then again built, and again destroyed. But a wall still exists. So that western wall is now their holy site. It's not even the temple wall, it's a compound wall. Okay, but that is the holy place for them. And now the fights are more political. Okay, even though religious aspect is there, the fights are more political. If you see a picture of that, this is the Al-Aqsa Mosque, this is the Dome of the Rock, which is a different one, and this is Temple Mount. Okay, and here the western wall. So this compound, okay, compound wall exists, but the temples are all below this. Okay, now temple doesn't exist. So here the Jewish quarters is there, here the Muslim quarters is there, and this is the old city of Jerusalem. Okay, so this is the Jerusalem area where the recent conflict also happened. Okay, if some when the Ramzan thing is going on, if one religion is following something there and others do a procession there, or other try to enter there, there will be people to fight. Okay, so that is what is happening. Religion is involved in the triggering of the fight, but the main reason of which Israel and Palestine is fighting is actually for the land. Okay, now the third myth: they have been fighting for centuries. This is what people tell, like it's a 3,000-year fight, it's a 2,000-year fight, they are fighting since 1900, 1800. There are many things being told. Okay, the true fact is it is 1900. Okay, 1900 or maybe 1947 is actually when something called Israel and Palestine was actually partitioned, and that is when the conflict began. Till then, there was no people to actually claim the land of each other. Okay, Israeli-Palestine conflict is a very modern phenomenon. Formally began since 1947-48 or the earliest in 1900s. Why? Because communal angle was added that time only. One thing you should understand, whenever there is an issue in this world, 3 things can be the reason. One is God, one is religion, and third will be British. The British Balfour Declaration in 1917, okay, they had this usual divide and rule policy across their colonies. So the Palestine area also, which was under Ottoman Empire, was actually won by the British after the World War I. You know, World War time, 1914 to 1918. Okay, that time they will win and they will get that area, and they knew that they will get that area. So first itself they declared a Balfour Declaration. Balfour is the name of a person. They had a declaration that if you stand with us, okay, they went and told this to both of them. They went and told to the Israelis, that Jewish people, that we will allow you to have your homeland there, because after the war we will get that, but you have to support us in the war. Same thing they went and told to the Palestinian people, that you come and support us for the war to defeat the Ottoman Empire, then you will get your homeland there. Okay, so that divide and rule, they got the support of both of them. And finally, when the war was over, British people, they actually proposed it in the League of Nations. League of Nations is actually a body before the United Nations, and it was approved also. But when people started moving there, the Arabs did not like it. Okay, when the Jews started moving there, Arabs did not like it, and so that is how the conflict actually began. So this fighting since centuries is wrong. Okay, UN split, which I showed you in the first image, 1947, Arabs did not like and attacked Israel, but Israel won the war and took over the regions. What was given to them in the split? Okay, they got more than what was given to the split, and later returned most of them. So this and all I've told you in the image first itself. And West Bank, Gaza, Jerusalem is partially occupied also. Okay, that is what happened. And more than 7 lakh refugees exist without a nation. There are many Palestinians who had to run out of the country also, who doesn't have a nation now. And this was the case exactly for the Israelis before 1940s. Okay, so that in a different video we'll discuss. So this is the thing about the fighting timeline. And it's, as I told, about a century old at most, and it's predominantly about national self-determination. Okay, so you cannot tell centuries, it is just since the beginning of 1900s. Now the fourth myth: Europe created Israel to apologize for the Holocaust. Okay, so for that you should know what is Holocaust. Holocaust, also known as the Shoah, was the genocide of European Jews during World War II. The World War II timeline, you know, 1939 to 1945. So between 1941 to 45, the Hitler's time, Nazi Germany and its collaborators systematically murdered some 6 million Jews across German occupied Europe. Okay, so this was happening. And mass migration from Europe is like it started. Okay, it started before that also. If you see Balfour Declaration, the First World War, that time itself, slowly it started. but Arabs were opposing. But when this thing happened, when Jews were being mass murdered here, they had no other option. They were moving in huge number of groups. Okay, so but it was persecuted Jews themselves who choose Israel land. Okay, they themselves, they did not want to run away anywhere else. They wanted to go there itself. So it's not something which Europe created for them. Okay, as I told, Balfour Declaration was there. Then seeing Jew-Arab tensions, okay, when they started moving, British actually sent many migrants to the nearby Cyprus Island and elsewhere, okay, because they did not want any problem. So they tried to move them into other places also. Europe did not try to forcefully make Israel, okay. And then when United Nations tried to resolve also, as I told, when voting happened, only 12 European nations supported it. Remaining all the votes came from Caribbean and Latin American nations. So you should know that Europe is not the one who created this, and it is not like an apology for the Holocaust. This is being spread and talked about by many people, like Europe created it, Europe created it. It's not like that. Okay, even though there are instances of Balfour Declaration and other things, it is not Europeans who actually did it. Fifth myth is that Palestinians, Israelis aren't a real nationality. The pro-Palestinian people say Israelis are Europeans and should go back there. They have come here to steal our land. The pro-Israelis will say Palestinians are part of other Arab nations and they have come here to expand more. Okay, their population and their land, they have come here to expand more. But both are actually wrong. It fundamentally ignores the actual experiences of Israelis and Palestinians. The Israelis were treated non-Europeans for years. Not only non-Europeans, globally nowhere they were accepted. Okay, Israelis, they were like scattered. It's an old story about Roman Empire and all, where they were scattered across the world and they had no nationality. They were not accepted anywhere for years. And finally, Zionism had to happen and they were thinking of an own nation. Okay, so all those people had to come back to their own homeland. That is the reason they came. Then Palestinians were dominated by the Ottomans and reacted to the oppressions by needing own nation. So both wanted their nationality. Okay, it's not just a religious thing. Ancient religious family tree. Okay, if you take this Jewish religion and if you take the Islam religion, if you track back, okay, you will go till the 2000 BC time, the time of Abraham or Isaac or Ishmael. If you go back to that tree, both will have their own stories to debate. Okay, because both have actually the same person as their father of religion, if you can tell. Okay, one person, Abraham, one son will be making one religion, one son will be making another religion, not directly, but through their different generations. Okay, that again, the family tree I'll explain in the Israel history video. But you should know that both will have their own valid reasons to argue that this is our homeland. Now, both indeed deserve to be having a secular nation, but it has to be further worked upon. Okay. Now, sixth myth, most Israelis and Palestinians hate everyone on the other side. Like here, there are some people, like everybody is on the Pakistan side, we'll be hating them. Pakistan will see like every Indians are their enemy. So that happens. So here, is this a true thing? Okay. Actually, it is not true. It is not hate for religious reasons as such. Okay. It's somewhere between apathy and antipathy. Now, apathy and antipathy, if you're confused, apathy means like a lack of interest. Okay, we are not anyway interested like who is living that side. We don't care. We are like not even concerned about them. That is called apathy. And what is antipathy? It's like a dislike for something or somebody. That is the opposite of sympathy. Okay, meaning it can be by experience or maybe it's like without any cause and effect. Okay, like whatever happens, whatever you tell, we hate them. So that is antipathy. So apathy and antipathy, in between there is a line. That is where the Israeli-Palestine hatred towards each other is there. Okay, it's very difficult to explain, but that is why these keywords have been used. Now, all Palestinians don't want Israelis to be driven out or wiped out. They just want to be treated better as a group. They believe Israel will never voluntarily give them their own state. Okay, so that is the reason. Maybe violence or something's come there. Okay, they don't want an Israel to be completely wiped out. But they know that Israelis themselves are not going to give anything. So we have to protest. Okay, same way, Israelis don't want Palestine to be wiped out. They want both to be in harmony, but they have no confidence that Palestine will be ready for peace talk. And even if peace treaty is done, they may not stop attacking Israel. Okay, like Gaza, when it was like Israel vacated from there and Hamas took it over, they did not use their funding to build any hospitals or build any education centers. Instead, they wanted the entire area. Okay, they started attacking. They started getting funding from other countries. So they are not having a faith that Palestine will be ready for peace talk. And finally, if everything is split equally also, they will not stop attacking. They will want to wipe us out completely. So that is the reasons for which hatred is spreading. Now, seventh myth, the US could force Israel to end the conflict if it wanted. Okay, so this is something which somebody tells, like USA, Russia, you people come and then you can suggest them. If you tell, they will listen. You are giving funding to them. So this kind of things happen, but this is not actually true. When Trump was there, he was a great pro-Israeli person and even recognized Jerusalem as their capital. Okay, Jerusalem, it's a disputed area, which both of them sees there as their capital. Trump, who is like a global leader, he told, we agree that, yeah, Jerusalem is your capital. Okay, and if you see, that is just Trump. If the previous presidents, if you see Obama or anyone else, they tried the opposite way. They took a neutral stand. Okay, and that time also Israel never bothered to care. Okay, if it's that way or this way, they don't care. They did what they felt right for their nation. Even though Israel today has far more control over the conflict than Palestinians, it is not true that the conflict will end if Israel withdrew. Okay, just because Israel has more land now, it doesn't mean they withdraw and everything will get over. The conflict will never end. The groups like Hamas is not going to withdraw and conflicts are bound to continue no matter what. So with or without US support, Israel was always sure of their position in the clashes. So USA cannot make any impact. Israel actually do not need any US support to move ahead and occupy more land, as they have proven in 1967 war, where they completely occupied even the Egyptian territories and Syrian territories. Okay, that time there was no US support. So that is why within the USA, there is right-wing and left-wing debate on this issue. Okay, and they tell like you should not support, you should support. There is thing going on. But actually what USA is doing is they are supporting both of them equally. Okay, why? Because they believe peace talks can be happening only if both are made politically secure. Okay, if they don't have a political identity, if we don't fund them or support them, then they will not even be ready for talks in the future. So they are supporting both of them. This is the time after Trump, I am telling. Okay, now, eighth myth, a Palestinian Gandhi could bring peace. Now everybody thinks that because of the Hamas group, Palestine does only violence. Okay, there is no one who talks peace. There is no one who tries to solve issues in a peaceful manner. But that is not actually true. The statement also has a negative tone to it. Okay, like which can bring down any of the party. Okay, as I told, maybe everybody thinks it is Palestinian. Now suppose Palestinian Gandhi comes, an issue gets solved, and that doesn't mean like Israeli side is violent. Okay, so that statement itself is not a positive statement. Palestinians have indeed tried peaceful methods of demonstrations, protests, etc., which is also showcased in one of the award-winning documentary. Okay, in 2011, this 5 broken cameras. You can see it, I think, in YouTube. It will be there. It is filmed by a Palestinian man as his village tried to stop Israel from building a wall that could cut off villages from the olive groves. Okay, so they have peacefully also protested. They have done demonstrations. They have done such kind of things on the streets. So that is already there. Now something called intifada, which you would be seeing in the news, first intifada, second intifada, is actually a term which is meaning uprisings. So the first one, which I think in the time 1987 to 1993 it happened. Okay, this actually began non-violent only. People were protesting, demonstration, they were protesting in the front of the soldiers, in the government. They were not fighting. But what happened is later it became violent. Okay, because of the resistance, because of the counter attacks and all, it became violent. And second intifada, which came in around 2000 time, which was actually led by the Hamas. Okay, initially again they thought to start it in a normal way, but it was a very violent protest. Okay, and this happens everywhere. Now, even though when we are talking about Gandhi, in India, it's not like only Gandhi's activities led to the independence of the country. Okay, there were revolutionaries, there were Bhagat Singh, there were Subhash Chandra Bose. There is always a violent angle to any protest. Okay, whenever anything which is for your needs, when you protest something, there will be violent methods as well. The second intifada left Palestinians much worse off than they were at the beginning. Okay, the point is that non-violent resistance is certainly commendable and important, but no matter how many Palestinian Gandhis emerge, that is not enough on its own to end the conflict. Okay, so this is also a myth. Now the ninth one, Israel is explicitly seeking Palestinians' total destruction. Okay, this is what people think. Like the current Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, he will like completely put the bombings and rockets and he will destroy the thing and the entire thing will be taken. Okay, if they wanted to do that, they could have done long back itself, because military-wise, power-wise, force-wise, funding-wise, everything Israel is anywhere top of them. Okay, technology-wise also. Even most of the countries from Asia are importing technology and resources from Israel, okay, including India. So you should know that if Israel wanted to do that, they would have done long back. It is true that Israel responded to all the bombings from Hamas, who took over Gaza in 2006, as I told. But in every clash, they suffer an equal or sometimes more death toll. Okay, whenever this fight is happening, they are also losing people. Now videos are there. Now in this time, everybody are with their phone and going live and they are putting out what is happening there. So there are extremists in Israeli politics as well who want all the land and treat Palestinian people as secondary. Okay, there is such people also there, but that's not meant like the government is doing that. The fact is that Israeli leaders have internally tried lot of peace deals as well, but everything has failed. Okay, other than what we see outside, like Oslo Accord or Camp David Accord, which others are coordinating, internally the leaders have tried it. Okay, 1990, Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin signed a peace deal with the Palestinians, but he was killed. Okay, whenever somebody tries to do some peace deal, he will be attacked and assassinated. That's what happens in everywhere across the globe. 2008, the Prime Minister offered the Palestinians a two-state peace deal. Okay, but failed again. This is actually a UPSC question also, like two-state nations are in news. Which are the two nations? So the question and the options will be like China, Taiwan, or South Korea, North Korea, Palestine, Israel. So this was a UPSC question. Okay, so this is the things which failed. And if you take the present Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, he is anyway clearly not a Gandhi who will be initiating peace talks. Okay, he actually instead focuses more on the Israeli people. Okay, he is concerned about their development, their security, their opinion. But by doing that, indirectly he is keeping the conflicts alive. Okay, when he is developing more and more the regions in Israel and their people, and other places are kept in blockade. Okay, the Gaza Strip or the Western Bank, anywhere if it's kept on blockade and checkpoints, everything is there, it will obviously create anti-Israeli sentiments, and it is going to create more and more conflicts in the future. Okay, so it does not add to any peace initiation. Now the 10th and final myth is things are basically peaceful during the periods of relative calm. Now in 2021, the attack happened and every one of us are sitting and discussing this. Every YouTuber, including us, are putting videos out of this. But does that mean, like maybe 2 months before when this was not in news, that time is everything okay? Is people living there peacefully? That is not the case. Okay, it's not like peaceful. The cities like Tel Aviv, a Mediterranean beach city, it looks prosperous and developing, which is actually true. Okay, their development is happening at its peak. And just a little away, if you see, okay, just a 1 hour drive from there, if you take West Bank or Gaza, there is internal Cold War going on between many people every day. Okay, after the second Intifada, that is after 2003, 2006, Israelis had built large walls separating the Israelis from the Palestine. Okay, big walls are there. That for pictures you can see on the internet. So that was happening. Trade, employment, internal movement, everything day in and day out is a problem for people on both sides. Okay, people are struggling there, because if you, like, every place when you go, okay, there is a checkpoint, people are questioning you, then you will not feel a comfort in living there. Okay, the religious significance of Jerusalem adds to the problems and is always a reason for the final trigger for clashes like the present one. Slightest provocations can lead to big clashes. So as I told, whatever they have, every day in and day out, they have problems. When the religious place, the Jerusalem has an issue, that is when the things comes in news. That is when the bombings happen. So these kind of pictures is like a normal thing there. Okay, every day people are being questioned, people are checked, only then they can move from one place to another. The conflict may be quieter some days than it is on the others, but it is still active, still destroying lives and communities, and still scarring these two societies every single day. So now the story of Israel, okay, which we have researched whatever we could, okay, right from Abraham's journey. Okay, Abraham is the person which is seen as the father of both the religions and also Christianity. That we have researched a bit, and we have decided to make a video which will be the actual beginning of all these things. Okay, about the people and the land. So about the story of Israel will be part 1. So that if you want to watch on our channel, okay, if you want to learn from us and the various topics which we told in the starting of this video, you have to support us just by clicking like, comment, okay, share this video and subscribe to this channel, because everything will be researched and taken only from standard newspapers and standard international body dialogues, okay, only from their international websites. So please see to it that you get this video soon. The sooner you subscribe, sooner the videos will come out. So I'll come up with the next video. Thank you and have a nice day.